Hi there, people. How are you today? And you are here in Chai Time with Prableen, and we have Cheryl Bishop, the founder of Resilient Women in Business Networking Group. And I'm so excited to have you here, Cheryl. How are you doing today?
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you for allowing me to be here, and I'm really excited for what we have in front of us for a few minutes today. So it'll be great.
Awesome. So, how did you become part of this group? Amazing women out there.
How did it all start?
Yeah.
Well, it started it started sooner than 2018. However, I'll give you a quick short story of that. And in 2018, I really felt I needed to be a part of women again. And through that process, I kept hearing one word: resilient. I could be driving down the street or taking my dog for a walk or going to the grocery store, and I'd hear that word over and over again. And so what I did is ask myself, what is this word resilient? And my intuition stood up and said, Cheryl, you're resilient, but this word is not about you.
Wow.
So I had to really do some soul searching, going, what is my next step in my life that I need to create? I've always been in business. My parents have always been in business. So I've been around the business realm. But I love how life sometimes just presents an opportunity. And for any of your listeners here, is to really pay attention to those moments where you have a signal or a tap on your shoulder. I often get a tap on my shoulder, or a quiet little whisper, like the resilient word for me was a quiet little whisper.
Yeah, knowing you, I know that you're a very intuitive person. Were you like that when you were a child, or did you learn to be intuitive? Like, how did it come to you?
I learned to be intuitive. I didn't believe I was intuitive. I was extremely shy child until my 20s, extremely shy that it would be, I could tell you so many stories how shy I was.
Yeah.
And I realized that every time I get a thought, I need to really check in with that and clarify, verify, what is that? Is that something I need to do? Or do I talk myself out of it?
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I always talked myself out of so many things. And then I decided one day to say, I'm going to listen to the quiet voice and I'm going to take action. And when I took action, that's where more intuitiveness seemed to happen, is when I took action, things would happen.
And then because you start believing in your intuition that, yes, I worked on it and it will work for me, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what inspired you to start this networking group?
Well, the networking group, so first it started with mastermind groups, and then the networking group was 2018 in December. I had this dream. And this dream said I was to do monthly events, didn't say what type of events. And I woke up in that dream, and at that time I was traveling from doing events in Surrey to Calgary to Toronto. So I was out of town at least 2 to 3 times a month, whether I be in Calgary and Toronto. So I had no regular schedule. So I woke up from that dream and I went, I honestly put my hands on my hips and went, I have no time for a monthly event, so I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, one of my members in the mastermind group, our beautiful, resilient leader, Rosalia, said to me, Cheryl, I would like to talk to you after the mastermind group, once the ladies move, because I want to talk to you about something that's happening. And so I said, sure, absolutely. So we talked. And after that, I felt so compelled. And this is where we really need women in our lives. Because after that, I said, I feel so compelled to tell you my dream I had a couple of weeks ago. And my dream was that I was to do these monthly events. I didn't know what kind of monthly events. So I woke up and said, I'm not doing them. She said the best thing for me. She looked at me and said, so Cheryl, if God gave you that dream, are you saying no?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a wow for me. I was leaning into her and I crossed my arms and I leaned back in my chair, and this is exactly what I said. Shit, I have to do these monthly events and I don't even know what they freaking are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she was a blessing, because then that sent me on, I've got to do this monthly event. I'm going to do a networking event. And I'm going to invite all these women. Started it in Cloverdale. And the first event, we had 25 ladies show up. The second event, I had 45 women show up. And so that showed me that there was a need out there in the marketplace.
So you were part of a different mastermind group, and then you started your own mastermind group as the founder.
Not necessarily was I a part of a different mastermind group. I have been in mastermind groups throughout my life.
Okay.
But that's not what started it. It was really just going, I went to an event that was called Think and Grow Rich for Women.
Yes.
And then it just sort of manifested in my mind, why don't you study the book Think and Grow Rich and create a mastermind as you go? So I put a Facebook Live video out. Monica Hawkins, she never forgot. A few of them saw it. Paige was another one. And they all reached out to me individually when I posted this. This is what I said. All you women entrepreneurs out there, I don't know what's happening in my world, but God is doing something in here. I feel like I'm supposed to support you somehow and maybe do events, maybe not. I'm not sure, but I just wanted to let you know I'm your biggest cheerleader. And that's when 10 women said, when you know what you're going to do, let me know.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is the power of women being together. You know, it's the communication, it's supporting each other. And you had that personal connection with them where they're like, we can trust you. You know, whatever you do, we are there. Whatever your service is, we will be there to help you out. Right?
Yes, and I think when you are a true you, meaning that you stand in your own power, you stand in your own confidence, because we all have different levels of confidence. And then when you really show up to another female or male or anyone in the world as a great human being, just to be of support, people can see that and feel that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. So Cheryl, I want to ask you, when you started this, you must have thought of a plan, about this networking group. So what are your values that you carry with you? Because of course, I think like your personal, it comes to the professional, right? Because you cannot separate yourself.
Correct.
Right? So what are the values that you carry within yourself and this group?
Well, when I say we, it's as I evolved in creating resilient women in business. Now I have what's called resilient leaders, and you're one of them for the Guildford chapter. So thank you for that. And that we start getting together. So a few years ago, when we were starting to create all these different chapters, I was duplicating myself. I knew I wasn't going to do all the chapters.
Yes.
Right? I've got a busy life. I've got busy things that it's just like, I can't do them all. I don't want to stress myself out. So why not? And I had so many women at that time that believed in what Resilient Women in Business has to offer. So Rosalia was the one that said, let's take you across the river. And I said, sure, if you want to do the meetings, absolutely.
Right.
And so she was one of the first resilient leaders to do that. And then Monica stood up. I'll do the Cloverdale one. Diane Hume, another great person that's been from day one, says, I want to start a White Rock chapter. And it just blossomed like that.
Right.
And so the core values, we came up when we had one of the first meetings, we came up with core values.
Yes.
We run the business by the core values. And one of them is respect the individual, coming from a place of love for others. To me, that's extremely important.
Yes.
We have too much negativity out in the world.
Right. And it also in our personal lives, like, with our husbands, our children, like it's so important to respect the other person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so come from a place of love versus coming from that place of attack. And another core value that I love is, because I see it in my life, is gratitude. The more you show gratitude, the more that God and the universe and the angels above can give you to be grateful for.
Yes.
That's a whole different realm when you are living in gratitude versus living in, things aren't working out in the negative realm, if you want to say.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And I've read this quote. It's like your vibration. Like God doesn't know what you want. It's the vibration you're producing, what you're thinking. It's you get, if you're thinking about gratitude, it comes to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you think about this as the simplest example. I'm going to go buy a car. And I'm sure anybody listening here has experienced this.
Yeah.
You buy a car and you decide, I want a blue car, a red car. And all of a sudden, what do you see on the street?
Yeah, blue cars.
Blue cars, red cars, right?
Yeah.
And so it's whatever we focus on expands. So if our vibration is what we're focusing on, it could be a great vibration, it could be a negative vibration.
Yes.
So it's whatever we focus on is what we're going to see and what we're going to receive.
Yeah. So how has this networking group helped other women? Like, how did you empower other people, in this networking group? What is your strategy?
Well, I can ask you what you got out of that right there. You were part of a member for a year.
Yes.
And what did you get out of being a member?
First of all, like when you sent me that invite, through Facebook, I was like, I don't know what this group is about. Like I had no idea. And I was like, okay, I'll just go check it out. It's at the restaurant, we'll have good food, we'll chat with other women, we'll see where it goes. And the warmth in the group, like there were, I think, 7 or 8 people there. Like I felt the warmth, like everybody was so welcoming. Everybody, like you share what you do, like your business, you share that. And then everybody's there to support you. They're like, okay, like Meena was there. She's like, yeah, I need this for Christmas because I have a gifting business. So she's like, I need this for my Christmas. And then you start building up those ideas. How are you going to support that women? And then, yes, it's also about you when, you promote yourself. It's support I found was just amazing. Yeah.
Thank you for that. One of the biggest compliments I get when women have never been there before, they say, I feel totally at peace and comfortable here.
Yes.
Many women have constantly said, I've gained so much confidence.
Yes.
Many women have said, I've recognized I don't live in the negative world anymore. I live in the positive world because of all the education that Resilient Women in Business offers. And so I think that's a real good signature of Resilient Women in Business is the education component and the mastermind component, which is all about supporting women.
Yes. Well, yeah, you have the GPS program, right? Would you like to share a little bit more about what the membership includes?
Yeah, well, there's also, so not only do we have networking events in several different cities, soon to be right across Canada. I'm really excited for Newfoundland to be on.
Oh, really?
Launched. Yeah, that's gonna launch.
And that is far from here.
That is far
all
from
over
here.
Canada. We're so amazing.
Yeah, so that's when I can really say we're all across Canada.
Wow.
I have another lady that used to live in Surrey here, and I've known her for many years. She moved to New Brunswick. So she wants to start one there. So
that's so exciting.
Yeah.
That is so exciting. So yeah, definitely then we could have these Zoom meetings, if we were all across Canada, and then the network, it's going to grow so big. I'm so excited.
Well, that's also a great benefit is it's not just an individual one group. We have over, at this point in time, we have over 80 members.
Yes.
And it's only going to grow, especially through the fall. So you've got all these other women that can support you. So going back to your question about the GPS program, that also was a download in a dream. Even the name. It was like somebody is standing there in my dream saying, Cheryl, I want you to create this. And I already had some created, but I didn't call it GPS.
Yeah.
So I want you to create every calendar quarter, you do a workshop for women focusing on their goals every single calendar quarter, and you call this program GPS. Even the name is like, whoa.
Yes.
So I thought,
directing you.
Directing me.
Yes. Yes.
And this is where, for your audience that are listening, or for anybody that's listening, you probably get these little ideas yourself.
Right.
And it's the humanness that goes, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not good enough for that.
Yeah.
And we have to learn that that's our BS system. That's our belief system that really is getting in our own way. Yeah. And so I had to learn that. And that's where the intuitiveness comes so strong, because when I learned the difference between the negative, if I want to say, that's not supporting me, and the positive that is supporting me, magic happens. So the GPS program actually stands for Goals plus Productivity equals Success.
So it's an accountability program,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
So you have this group of women, and then you're accountable. You have these weekly meetings, right?
Weekly meetings, correct.
Amazing.
Correct. And it's all on Zoom. So that way women can be from anywhere.
And would you like to share any success stories? I know you must have a lot of them, but fresh ones, or anything you'd like to share here.
Well, there is really so many of them. So many women. Like I just had one just yesterday, and she's in her 70s. And she said to me, Cheryl, I wished I would have been a part of this GPS program a long time ago. I don't know why I didn't jump on board a long time ago. And now she's so thankful for her group.
Wow.
There's so much support there, right?
Yeah.
And so, there's so many. Into increasing my business, my revenue triple times.
Yeah.
And the relationships alone are fantastic.
Yeah, that's for sure. So how do you maintain this resilience in your, the time you face challenges or setback? How do you?
But what helps me is I know this is not about me. there's a bigger picture here, a bigger plan. So that really supports me. Anytime I get into my own self-doubt, the humanness of who we are as a human, we all face that. Doesn't matter who we are. We have these thoughts that go on and feelings that start to be created. And am I good enough or am I not? Or how come I'm comparing, if you compare yourself to someone else, well, I can't seem to do that, but they can. All of that, I keep reminding myself, this is not about me. This is about a community of women. And that alone, and as well as my faith, allows me to push through any kind of challenge. It doesn't matter what the challenge is.
So what do you do? Like, do you go do meditation? Do you go like journal? Or do you go back to your intuitive, like think about it and how, like I face this challenge, like how I'm going to overcome this? Like what is...
Yeah, I'm always seeking, how can I? Wow. Always seeking, how can I make this better?
Yes.
How can I make this work? How can I come up with something better than what I already have? How can I? I'm always asking that. So the many times I get these little ideas in the shower because I'm constantly, as soon as I wake up, okay, how do I make this day a better day than it was yesterday?
Yes.
I look in the mirror at myself often. Okay, Cheryl, how do you become a better you tomorrow than you are today?
It's definitely about intention setting. That's what I feel like, right? Like before this episode, it's your intention. You need to set an intention, what you want it to be like you said, how can I change this or how can I make this better, So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I believe women in business need to be a solution-driven entrepreneur all the time, constantly looking at different ways and new ways, and not to get stuck in old ways. Every old way can be enhanced. Everything can be enhanced.
Yeah.
So when you're constantly enhancing, you'll constantly grow your business.
Right. So how do you manage your personal life and you have this big, amazing networking group? I mean, and then so many other tasks. I know you do GPS. I know you do other, go to other cities and do the networking events. How do you manage all of that?
Well, that's a really good question. What is a good balance?
Yes,
right?
yes.
I'm blessed that my kids are out of the house, so I don't have to be so concerned about that in a way. And I'm very driven entrepreneurial, just like my dad. My dad is 84, turning 85 in September, and he is still going strong. So I look at what is a good balance. When you are in the creative mode and really, like if I was to write a book, there's going to be some sacrifice I need to do. So that's called a sacrifice plan, right? So if I say to my husband, oh, I'm right in a creative mode and I need this time aside and it's it's for now. That doesn't mean it's forever.
Right. Yes.
Right? So you really got to look at your schedule and, of course, put the most important things in your schedule so that you don't book over on top of them. I find a lot of women will say yes, yes, yes to so many things. And now their husband is saying, how come you're not paying attention to me? Or the kids are going, where are you, Mom? Or things like that. So it's putting those personal things in your schedule first. And learn to say no when you need to say no.
Right.
There's times I get asked to speak at certain events. And if I recognize my avatar is not there, then the answer would be, it's a no for now.
And how do you pay attention to self-care? I mean, as, entrepreneurs and as business, we get so busy that we, forget to care about ourselves. And I feel like it is so important. How do you, do you keep a day aside or do you go a spa day with your friends? Like, how do you manage all of that?
Well, I think we all got to look at what is personal care. Which part of that is important to us? For an example, some women love to take a bath, right? That's not important to me, but for someone else, that's very important to them. So it really depends on what's important to you. I have a great backyard with a massive tree that always gives me lots of energy. So anytime I kind of need self-care, I wander around my backyard and look at all the nature, the garden, the flowers, the vegetables, all of that. And that, it can be 2 minutes. And it's like, that gave me a whole day of being at a spa. So we got to identify what really works for ourselves, right? Yeah. And that's the best. And I always love girlfriend time. So, when there's wine time or girlfriend time, I was like, for sure I'm there, right?
Oh, 100%. And I love your backyard. I mean, we did this amazing, was it an annual meeting?
Yes,
right?
annual for all the members.
Yeah, and then everybody talked about themselves. I know it's a really great event.
Yeah, it always is. I think we've done that now 4 or 5 years. I can't recall, but anyways, it's always good to get women together, and they always have I remember Mina. Well, you know Mina. She was sitting. She didn't even see the tree yet.
Yeah.
And I said, Mina, I can feel the trees letting you know that he has so much energy there for you. And she goes, I can feel the energy.
Yeah.
I didn't know the tree was behind me. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it was so amazing. So that tree is just beautiful. Yeah. But again, going back to that question, we got to identify. And so I keep my Fridays during the week as a soft thing. Right. Meaning if I want to go out for lunch or do whatever I want to do, I want to go shopping, whatever it is, Fridays are my time to do whatever I feel like. And if I want to work, then I work.
Yes. Same for me too. I keep sometimes a nail salon appointment on that day or a facial appointment. I always keep it on Fridays. Like when to book you, I'm like, keep it on a Friday. Right?
Yes, totally.
So, I know that Monday to Friday is work days and then I have my own time.
Yeah. And I always look at do what you need to get done and then go celebrate.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, and Friday's always the best day,
yes.
the happiest day.
It is totally the great day to do those things you want to do.
So Cheryl, what advice would you give to somebody out there who's hesitant to join these group, who maybe are introvert people and think that maybe this is not for them? What would be your advice?
Well, my first advice is you never know what's for you unless you try it. Right? If you walk by a restaurant and you're judging it, until you go in and actually taste the food, how are you going to know that could be your next favorite restaurant? Very much like this. It's not like other networking events. I have women that also say, I love your events because they're very structured. Some are, some aren't. Some work for others, some don't. But the first thing I would say is find a city. If there's a city where you live, check it out so that you can go, is this for me or is this not for me?
Yeah. So how can a new guest or who would like to become a member of that group can benefit from this networking group? Like what do you think can benefit them?
Well, there's a lot. So right now I'm working on if you want to call a back office for only members, where there's going to be lots of education. Right now I have that on Facebook, where there's some videos about how to effective network, follow up, and a variety of other trainings. I'm just creating a sales training for only the members. And so there's education, and that platform is going to be valued alone. I mean, I could charge $4.97 for all the education that's in there, if not more.
Right.
So the education alone is good. Plus, you've got your group. Use them as, if you decide to jump on board, it's using them as like your advisory boards. Too many times women think we're doing business by our own. Just like the 75-year-old yesterday told me.
Yeah.
I wished I would have belonged to this group. There's only 8 members in the GPS group, and how supportive everybody is for her is just great.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes the number doesn't matter. Even if there are 8 people in the group or 20 people in the group, it's like, when you, even with 2 people you find and you become best friends with, you're like, this is my life and that's it,
Absolutely.
And then that becomes your circle. Like in COVID, we had this bubble, so you can only go see your bubble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is really amazing. So Cheryl, would you like to share with our listeners where to find you and how can you sign up for this networking group, or how to find you on social media?
Well, resilientwomeninbusiness.com is the simplest way to see when the events are coming up. There's an event tab. You just click on the event tab and it'll show you the cities we're in. And if you find, oh, dang, there's no city in my city, and if any of your listeners here, if you are like someone that would love to perhaps facilitate a meeting, it is a bit of a commitment, but also you can earn some commission. Then you can just reach out to me through Facebook, Cheryl Bishop, or through Instagram. Same thing. And Resilient Women in Business even. You can go to the Facebook page. There's so many different ways that I can be reached. So absolutely.
That's amazing. And so you have a Facebook group, the Resilient Women in Business.
Yeah.
And could they go and follow you there also?
Yeah. Well, best is to follow on Instagram or Facebook.
Instagram, yes.
The Facebook group, yes, there's a one that's called Resilient Women in Business Community.
Okay.
So that's a group that I've got to be more active in. I've got to be honest. I'm more active everywhere else, but yes.
Yes.
So absolutely.
And then they can, I think the events are an Eventbrite, is it? For sign
Yeah.
up?
So if they go to resilientwomeninbusiness.com, or when you go there, there's the event tab you click on, and that takes you right to Eventbrite.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So you can find it on the Resilient Women in Group website. We are here on Eventbrite, and you can also find me. I'm at the Guildford chapter.
Yes.
Prableen, now you know me, you know my face, and she's the founder. And yeah, we have all the sources that we could help you and all the wisdom that we can share with you. We'd love to see you at one of our networking events. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, we'd love to see more women, the better, because we all have something to bring to the table.
Thank you, Cheryl, for coming in, joining me on my journey. I love your support, and I'm so excited. We had an amazing conversation on Chai Time with Prableen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome.